Okay, hello there. Welcome to my channel. I'm Dennis. In this video, we're going to do a little journey through Tuxedo OS, which is based on Debian/Ubuntu. I personally have never I've heard of this operating system a while back, but I've never actually looked at it. So we're going to do that. And I recorded the installation, and the installation is a very strange to me, a two-part installation. When you first boot up, you'll go to one screen. When you get through answering those prompts, it apparently reboots and stores that information, and we'll see that during the install. Okay, so let's get over to my desktop and we'll get started with that. So we're back on my desktop here, and I guess let's go over the web pages first. If you go to distrowatch.com, you'll find Tuxedo OS listed as 16 in their list based on Debian Ubuntu. Country of origin is Germany. Now, I could read all this to you, but I won't. But one thing I do find very interesting, this system has been around for a little over a year now, and it's got absolutely no reviews. And I'm not sure. Now, you can find reviews online and YouTube, but nobody at DistroWatch felt like giving it a review, and I'm not sure why. This would be their homepage here, tailor-made OS for your Tuxedo. They get the name because of Tux, the mascot of Linux, and the feathers it says looks like a tuxedo. Pretty good. This is their homepage, and if I grab this bar over here and I scroll down, you will see that there is a ton of information on the first page you're going to get to. Now, you don't have to read it all, but I would suggest you at least glance through it. I'll make sure the links get in the description. What's the differences between Tuxedo OS and Ubuntu Kubuntu? Well, they're going to explain more in this article right here. They say it's more than a changed design. Like I said, their version of KDE Plasma has really impressed me. This will be in the menu. I'll show you that in a little bit here. There are a couple tools that they install, and from what I can gather, those tools are not going to work unless you're using a Tuxedo OS computer. So let's continue on here. This is their wiki page here. Tuxedo, February the 1st, 2004 was founded. Their first OS, though, was released in 2023, I believe. We'll see in a minute here. Here's the desktops that I was talking about you can buy. You can get your selection, CPU, graphics card. I mean, they got some nice looking equipment. I've never not met anybody that says that they're running a Tuxedo OS computer, but these prices, this one right here is fairly close to US. It's about a little over $1,000, about 1,050, something like that. I'll make sure this gets in the description below. And here's the Plasma desktop, which I've used, and you probably will too. So let's minimize that and get that out of the way. In fact, why don't I just close it out? Get rid of that stress. I'm going to start with the installation that I recorded using Simple Screen Recorder. Unfortunately, it's a two-part install, and the only way I can demonstrate that is to actually show it to you. So let's start this up. I've got it set up in VirtualBox, 4 gigs of RAM, 2 cores of my processor, etc. And this is probably going to be a little slow, quicker than I thought. So you don't get a flashy boot screen. I don't really care, as long as the information's clear, and it was. Just over in the middle of the screen there, maybe. And I believe you'll find that the guest editions are installed, pre-installed. While that's booting up, I'm going to go ahead and bring up my notes here. This is Tuxedo OS 4. Here's their homepage and those links I just showed you. It was founded February of 2004. First release of OS was September 29, 22. So actually a little over 2 years now. That's a pretty good run. They got a lot of applications. They do not support Snap. I was relieved when I saw that. Differences between, we just look at that. Present outstanding application tools. Here's that web FAI. Fully automatic tool is a tool for Tuxedo Computers that automatically installs Linux operating systems on Tuxedo devices. Looks a lot like Balena Etcher. Let's see, something's going on here. Oh, still a little slow. It's running Plasma 623. I'm using X Server, X11, and Pipewire. Couple interesting software by default is installed. NeoFetch, Inksy, H-Top, and Flatpak is installed by default. Let me minimize this. It's got my mouse. Very low spec machine, so I don't expect it to do a lot. So you think you're fixing to get into the system here, and you're not. So first thing, we're going to select our language. For me, it's English US. Right here, American English. Say next. Chicago, that's correct time zone. Keyboard is English Standard, correct. Okay, so here's the first hiccup as far as I'm concerned. I can change this here, but if I go to advanced settings here, you can actually select Wayland, but you can clearly see I have selected X11, and that's important. I'll show it to you later here. Set up. So now it's going to do all this stuff, and it's going to reboot into a desktop, and then on the desktop there'll be an installer up here, and that's where we're going to pick up from. So I'm just going to go power this off, and we'll pick up from the actual installation. Go as we'll close out the virtual box, and let's make this full screen. Okay, so we're looking at Tuxedo OS, and this happens to be an operating system that I personally have never looked at. I have seen it, but I've never looked at it. And so I've installed Simple Screen. I've booted up through the ISO first, and you will get a graphical information screen that you'll need to answer a couple questions like your keyboard layout and your country of origin or your area. And the only way I can show you that is I'm going to install it again in a virtual box. But let's install this now. There's the installer on the desktop. Alright, correctly selected American English because I already done that at that first GUI screen. If I select erase disk, we do not get an option to create a swap partition. That is the correct hard drive. I'm going to manually partition, and there's the hard drive. First one I'm going to give it. See if numlocks is on. I'm going to give it a gigabyte. We're going to format it at FAT32, and we're going to mount that at boot EFI, and we're going to select boot from the flag and say OK. Now the next one I give it is going to be swap space, and I'm going to give it 8192, which is 8 gigabytes of swap. You could actually use a little more. There is no mount point. We're going to select swap and say OK. Remainder of this, create. We'll leave everything as default there. We're going to select the slash, which indicates root, and we'll scroll down and select root. Alright, there we go. So we've done. We can say next. Now we're going to give it a name, the computer name, and a password. Here you could also select log in automatically, but I'm not going to do that. Alright, now I've already done this in that beginning initial screen that I was telling you about where it's asking about information. But here you have the option, and this should be on any Linux distribution that's installing a software or operating system and they're wanting to use Wayland, they should make that your choice. Now, by default, it's going to select X11, and that's what I want. But if you click on Advanced, you do have the option to select Wayland if you'd like. X is the current technical basis for the graphical user interface, and Tuxedo, however, work is currently under the way for the Wayland standard. Well, we can change that later if I want to, or if you want to. Okay, here's a summary of everything it's going to do. We're going to get a gigabyte EFI, 8 gigabyte of swap, and the rest of it will be option. Okay, install now. Alright, so I'm going to pause the video because I'm sure this will take a while. This card will not change, but you can click right here and watch what's happening. So I've rebooted back into Tuxedo OS. At the login screen, it's SDDM. Down at the lower corner, you'll find a option to change from Wayland, which it will default to, or you can change it to X11. Now, that didn't make sense to me. Why did I have to choose Wayland or X11 when I did all of that through the installation? So be aware that when you first boot up, it's going to be running Wayland. And I logged out when I realized that, and now I'm in X11 and I got Simple Screen Recorder running, and it actually saved that from the install. That's kind of freaking nice, ain't it? So this looks like the same stuff in their favorites. Development, same stuff. Games, 4 games. Graphics, same stuff. Internet. And Tuxedo. Let me bring up a terminal real quick. I think they're still using NeoFetch. Let's find out. Let me stretch this up and down. Make it a little bigger. Let's go. I think they're still using NeoFetch. Let's find out. NeoFetch, yep. And cat Etsy OS hyphen release and Etsy hyphen AG for audio and graphics. So yeah, they're still using NeoFetch. Tuxedo OS 4. It's on the Dell Plasma desktop. That's all right. Pretty name is Tuxedo OS 4 version home support. And under graphics, I changed to X11 right away. I might try to run Wayland again. And we're running Pipewire. Let's see if I can run an update. Sudo apt. And we probably gonna have some upgrades. Yep, can be upgraded. Let's change that to upgrade. So, yep. That's one of the benefits of having that option in the Calamaris installer is where it says download and install updates during the installation. That's a great example of why this is good. Why that is a good option. Well, we're getting all kind of stuff backlight. It also remembered my Wi-Fi connection. I think I'm going to stop the video now because at this point it's time for me to explore and set it up the way I want to use it. So let's do that. Let's stop this, save it. You've seen that I did my first update and upgrade. No problems. Alright. Okay, so that's the installation. Let's look at their menu real quick, and you can see I've changed the menu a little bit. If you right click on it, it says show alternatives, and you got application dashboard, the launcher, and I'm using the application menu there. Here's your favorite setup over here. So under games, I did install a couple games. Graphics, we got Blender, GIMP, Gwenview, Inkscape, Krita, Nomax, Ocular, and Scanlight. And you can look back on the install video and see what was already here. multimedia, and I did add a bunch of stuff in here, obviously. LibreOffice was installed by default. System. This is like a system monitor or process monitor. Let's see what it says here. About Visual Process Manager, which is pretty slick. Let's see. Here's the Tuxedo, the utilities that they put on the system. But I believe you'll find it's mostly for the Tuxedo computers. Click on more options there, and you can say flash from file. Go to find your file. I'm going to just cancel out of that. This looks a whole lot like Molina Etcher. The other one, the control center, like I said, this is not going to work. It's actually going to say that it couldn't find, looking for devices, could not find your Tuxedo. So you can see some stuff in here, but there's not a lot of options available. Nice tool though. So under utilities, I did install FeatherPad, PCman FM, Clipper is a lightweight cross-platform clipboard history applet. It's right there, I guess. Yep, I'm gonna quit that. So back to the menu. That's about it. I got my stuff, my favorites that I use all the time: OBS, KDE Live, Audacity, Krita, VirtualBox, Virtual Machine Manager, as well as boxes. So let's see where I'm at in my notes here. Here's an interesting article: 12 reasons for Tuxedo computers. Very nice. So let's see, info about, I think, info center. 623-680-680 using X11. All right. The Dolphin File Manager, when I first installed this and I went to open up the file manager, I got a little notification saying that it would not open. Would I like to send an error report? Of course, I did. So I went on about setting up everything, and then after I was through, and after a reboot or two, I opened up Nemo, and guess what? It works just fine now. I'm not sure what happened. Potential cons, I'll make sure all this gets in the description below. Let's see, here we can see when I installed Tuxedo OS. 11/19, today is the 25th, so almost a week ago now. All right, so let's run this. Run a screen fetch. And the reason why I did the package count right here, 2767, if you look right here, it says unknown, and I'm not sure why. Tuxedo OS 2404 Noble. The kernel is 611. Ubuntu under the version name. Graphics, we're using X11, as well as I'm using Pipewire for audio. Very nice. Close that out. Okay. So, like I said, I've installed everything I normally would use, and I'm very impressed. Let's bring up this Discover Store real quick. I have actually used it a time or two to install, and this does offer you the regular packages as well as flat packs. You can see installed, probably not working. There we go. You see right there, flat pack. And I didn't say flat pack installed. I came here and these were already. Flat pack was available, and some of them were not available as far as a regular software goes. Here it was flat pack only. So I guess that's going to do it for this video. This is Tuxedo OS with the Plasma desktop. And to be honest, the Plasma desktop, this version of the Plasma desktop has really impressed me as far as KDE Plasma goes. I've looked at other distributions, and I've known about KDE Plasma for a while, I just have never been a great big fan of it. But if I would have run across this version to start with, that might have been a different story. So I encourage you to try it out. If you want to buy a computer, I pointed those links out. You can do that as well. I don't know if I would buy one from Germany here in the United States. I think I would find a different route. Anyway, thanks for watching. Peace out, guys. I'll catch you on another video. Bye.